What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that 1 second is no perfect movie. And 1 second is about an escaped convict played by Zhang Yi who was looking for his estranged daughter. And when he arrives in this desolate farm town one day, he and an orphan thief named Liu, played by Liu Haochen, agree to help the local movie theater projectionist known only as Mr. Movie, played by Fan Wei, to help restore a damaged print of the film that he's supposed to show that night, when it's revealed that the convict's daughter may in fact be in the film for a short bit. And this movie got a fair amount of buzz before it was even selected as TIFF's closing film because it was originally supposed to screen at the Berlin Festival last year, but it got pulled out at the last minute. And the official answer behind that was that the filmmakers were experiencing technical difficulties during post, and they've admitted that a minute of the film has actually been removed, which has led a lot of reviewers and fans to suggest that the Chinese government may have in fact censored the film because it takes place during the Cultural Revolution, where the communist government really started to have its main influence over the country. And in all honesty, based on some assumptions and opinions that are presented at the end of this movie, it still is an anti-communist film, and I'd be blown away if that was the official answer if only 1 minute got removed. But there's no explicit way of knowing for sure, and honestly, whatever the end result is, it wouldn't surprise me. But honestly, if I hadn't known that information going in, it still wouldn't have impacted how much I loved 1 second from start to finish. It's one of the best movies I've seen all year, and one of the best I've seen at TIFF in the 4 years that I've been attending the festival. It made me realize that there's a level of art to creating movies that are about people who love cinema and spend the majority of their time watching movies. Stuff like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Matinee, Ed Wood, or Cinema Paradiso in particular, because when I walked out of the theater, a friend of mine had instantly compared the two based on similar plot elements and similar moments. But just the sight of watching other people watching movies, or in this case, one person presenting movies to other audience members, just seeing their blown away reactions as their eyes are glued to their screen, just as our eyes are glued to ours, has this whimsical, charming feeling to it that comes down to the writing, where we need identifiable and likable characters who are struggling so much in life that they need a form of escapism. And for us as an audience, we need to be able to feel that same level of suffering so that once they sit down, watch a movie, and have a huge smile on their face or are brought to tears by something they know is fictional, we need to feel that exact same effect. It's up to just the characters and their willingness to go out of their way just to go see a movie. The director actually gave an introduction before the film about how, in his day and age, real-life audience members would walk for hours to the nearest Cineplex and spend all night watching movies if it meant making their day eventful. And the townspeople in the city, they go to the movies like it's a church. They worship Mr. Movie as if he's a pastor, and anything he says in regards to them helping him restore the print, they do without question. And if you don't, it's heresy, and he will call you out for it. The townspeople in this are so loyal and compassionate in the fact that they're willing to give up so much time and effort to help this guy that you really want to see them all succeed. It's up to the performers to bring this sense of passion that every character collectively shares, which they terrifically do so. And it is up to Zhang Yimou as a director to make the most mundane aspects of life large scale and cinematic, and have the visuals move the story forward first, dialogue second, in order for us to be enthralled. He directs this movie almost in the vein of an epic or a western, where there are so many sweeping, massive wide shots of characters just roaming through a desert as they're going from one location to the next. There's almost no music throughout the entire movie except for two scenes that helps give the atmosphere this bleak sense of isolation that the characters feel, the fact that they're all disconnected from society, from their communities to their families, and you instantly feel their pain. Hell, the introduction between the convict and Liu is actually filmed in the style of a Western standoff that you would get from Sergio Leone. The convict is just walking down the road, and all of a sudden Liu enters the frame from behind, surprising him. Cut to a close-up of her drawing a weapon, and then cutting back and forth between the two of them, staring each other down, anticipating what move that they're going to make next. And it leads to an awesome conclusion that I don't want to spoil, because it was just great. Their introduction and departure at the beginning and end of the movie is actually told without dialogue, but for the camera and their expressions that move everything forward, that say everything you need to about the relationship they're about to develop with each other. And it was bookended perfectly. Even when there's nothing large scale going on in the story, Yimou actually frames a lot of the pivotal scenes in master shots where every actor is in the camera at the exact same time. So our eyes are looking back and forth from the actions of the person speaking to the reactions of everyone being shocked or amazed by what they just said. And it moves the tension forward so nicely. And the performances, as I mentioned, were top notch. Zhang Yi was great as this drifter with no name who is literally escaping the problems of his life compared to every other character in the movie who is doing so figuratively. And honestly, that didn't actually occur to me until I was writing down the notes for this review, so the subtlety there was pretty nice. And I like that Yi managed to remain sympathetic whenever he has to apply physical force to get what he wants or escape trouble in certain situations that definitely clue you in on what he went to prison for in the first place and shows the combativeness of the relationship he has to go through with Lou. But underneath this gruff exterior is a sense of regret that he didn't have as good a relationship with his family as he could have in the past. And it's gotten so rough for him that if seeing his daughter on a movie screen for one night only is the last chance he'll ever get to see her, he'll do everything he can to make that happen by putting in hard work, effort, by taking time out of restoring the print to do acts of kindness for Lou, like helping her be a bodyguard for this one kid that she likes, but all the other kids are picking on. Little moments like that go to show that even though he still has a lot of the negative traits that got him in trouble in the first place, you can see that he's working hard to redeem himself. Orphan Lou is your typical homeless orphan thief, not gonna lie, but I do enjoy that her motivations are more identifiable. She's not stealing stuff for the sake of survival. If anything, she's doing so for the sake of entertainment and escapism. I won't ruin what it is, but she has this almost kleptomaniac need to steal aspects of the film for someone that she loves and admires. And there are plenty of moments where the same angry but restrained restrictions that Yi has, a very subtle thing that the two of them have in common, those moments definitely show that there are still people in life towards her that she cares about deeply and will do anything to help them. And the actress Liu Haochun brings a lot of levity to the character, even when she does some despicable stuff, because she is still a thief, she is still a con artist. But the interesting thing is that even when she has a sob story to trick someone, some of them turn out to be true. It's ironic how the truth can be severely misleading sometimes. But enough about the news, because the scene stealer of this movie, without question, was Fan Wei as Mr. Movie. This guy was fucking awesome. One of the best characters I've seen all year, let alone one of the best performances. He has this boisterous, over-the-top expression and attitude towards his craft, and some of his best scenes are when he's trying to go out of his way to show everyone in the room how to restore this damaged print, why everything he says has credence to it, why it's scientific, and why he is correct without question. You respect and admire just how much intelligence and discipline that he has towards operating a business like this. But when everyone's trying to help him and one person makes the slightest mistake, he will lose your shit on you. He will go Arlie Ermy on your ass, creating so many creative insults that motivate everyone to start improving upon their earlier work, and he'll start smiling as if nothing had ever happened. His cruelty and constant mood shifts makes him likable and hilarious and unpredictable, but it's crystal clear that he's doing so out of devotion for the craft. He wants to entertain people the only way he can, but he still wants his audience members to remain grateful for the effort he's putting into it. It's just such a great character to watch. The only real problem I had with 1 Second is that there are so many moments in the climax where the dramatic stakes are so high that you think the movie is about to end on that note. And honestly, if it had cut to black or fade to black at that moment, any of them in particular, I wouldn't have minded. There would have been a lot more mystery surrounding what would have happened to these characters. But without spoiling anything, there is a concrete conclusion that answers some of the questions that were raised about the relationship between the convict and Lou. And it's not a bad conclusion. It just, overall, it does lose a bit of momentum because you do know definitively what happened. And even though throughout the majority of the film there is no soundtrack and it actually works to its advantage, like I said, there are a couple scenes that kind of reminded me of the Dune trailer where characters are sitting in the desert and there's this one lady singing in this high-pitched operatic tone. But whereas the lady in the Dune trailer actually did have a good singing voice, this one, her pitch was so high that it actually came across as being awkward and it took me out of the moment. But honestly, that's it. 1 Second is such a great love letter to cinema thanks to its performances, the writing, the laid-back, nonchalant atmosphere that is told on such a huge epic scale thanks to Zhang Yimou. I might have actually loved this more than Shadow, and Shadow was still an awesome movie. So, for all those reasons, I'm going to give 1 Second a 4.5 out of 5. Definitely check it out when it comes to a theater or on VOD near you. It'll totally be worth it. Guys, thanks as always for watching. If you have seen 1 Second at TIFF or at other film festivals, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Be sure to stay tuned for more reviews, check out my other channel at The Josh and Tyler Show, and be sure to like and subscribe. Take care.